Guys, I've lost count the amount of times that Etsy have done any updates and done some new guidance. It's literally getting to be ridiculous right now because it's too much. Etsy keeps coming out with new stuff, new things that we need to do, and sellers are tired of it. I'll be honest with you, But the thing is, I need to let you know what this new guidance is because it's actually going to help you in terms of making sure that you consistently get those sales and also making sure you make those important changes that you need to make on your listing. So stay right to the end because I'm going to go over it really sort of thoroughly, but also as quick as I can so that you don't get bored of my voice. But really, I want to get you to understand exactly what you need to do. Now, this guidance has come out in the last few days, and it's a really important one. It's a big one because it will literally mean whether you're going to be found on the search or not. It's as simple as that. So for those of you that are really concerned and really want to make sure that you keep those consistent sales, then please make sure you watch right to the end. And guys, if you're interested in all things Etsy, AI, digital products, and all of that good stuff, then please hit the like, subscribe, smash the notification bell so you can get more of my updates in your feed. Now, listen, it's a tricky one. Now, I'm going to put the link of this guidance also in the video description so you can actually read it yourself. But I'm going to go through this and I'm going to break it down step by step so you actually understand. But essentially, look, Etsy is literally going full on, full board, full throttle AI, like literally AI bots are all over the place, shutting down stores, doing all sorts of madness. And this is why I keep saying, you know what? Anything can happen at any time. Etsy is a fantastic marketplace. It is amazing. Millions of customers are on there all the time, ready to buy. So I'll never, ever knock Etsy. But I will also say, for those of you that don't have a plan B, that don't have your own store, that are not selling using social media or whatever it is, then you are missing a trick because you don't want anything. If something happens to your store, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right? You need to have a backup, right? So if anything, if I can actually just convey anything on this video, is that make sure you have a plan B. To be honest, plan B, C, and D, but you need to make sure, right? Because if this is the income that you're getting and this is feeding your family and it stops, then it's a disaster. So please, if you can take something away, do that. Now, if you got any questions along the way, then please drop a question so I can answer you because this is really important. Now, look, check it out. Look at my screen right now. I'm on the seller handbook. Now, this is the link to the new guidance, right? And let me just go through it. So basically, this came out. You can see the date that it came out a few days ago, and it's a 6-minute read, right? And what it is, basically, they are saying that you need to be writing your titles clearer in a different way. So I'm gonna go through this and just explain what they're trying to say, what they want you, what they're explaining. Now here it says, we're looking at the first bit here where it says today, right? Today we're sharing updated guidance for what makes a great listing title to help you write clear, buyer-friendly titles that also perform well in Etsy search, right? Also introducing a new optional tool that uses your current listing information to recommend titles that match this guidance and helps you update multiple listings at once. Okay, so look, they want you to kind of improve your titles. They want the titles to be more, I guess, buyer friendly, more cohesive, more like they're written in a sentence, okay, like as if you're reading something yourself, rather than, I guess they call it, keyword stuffing, or stuffing these keywords that you think are going to get you in the search. I'll show an example of something that they deem it as not used in the best way. So I'm going to show you a few examples. So let's just have a look at this, for example, here. Okay, so look at my screen right now, and look, what you can see is an example of a title, right? Now, what you can see on this, you can see that if you read it, it's not like it makes sense. It's got keywords on it, but it doesn't read like you're reading a sentence or, a sentence in a book. It just has keywords there. So what they're trying to say is Etsy is saying that they don't want this anymore. They don't want to see this anymore. They want the buyer, when they look at the title, they want to be able to read what it is that they want. They don't want to see like repetition of words, and you can see repetitive words here, like for example, 3 times, 4 times Halloween. They're saying there is no need for that. The AI can pick up the keywords once. You can see PNGs repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and various things. A lot of repetition, not making sense, right? And to be honest, many of us do this. And to be honest with you, from what I can see, it works, and they are at the moment being seen, and people are getting to be bestsellers, and they are going on the first pages. If you look at every page on Etsy, you'll see similar ones like this. But Etsy want you to move away from this. They want you to actually have a more cohesive sort of sentence. I'm going to show you towards the end what kind of things they are looking for. So like I said, stay right to the end so you understand what they want you to do. But like I said, they don't want this anymore. They want the customer to have a better experience. They want the experience of the buyer to be where they can understand and see exactly what they're buying. Now, look, to be honest with you, so far, people are buying. You know, there are many of these types of listings, like lots and lots. And to be honest with you, I don't see an issue with it myself. I do understand that when you read something, it doesn't maybe make a lot of sense or in terms of legibility and readability. However, most people do understand what it is that they're buying because they can see the image, they can see the words. I mean, the image is the main thing that they can see, and it's clear as day what they're getting. And then obviously the description, the tags, and all of that also helps you to understand what it is. I do get it also that there's probably no need to repeat words, you know, because the AI is so powerful, so strong. The thing is, I think it's a positive thing if it moves in that direction where a lot of these titles become, I guess, you know, clearer, understandable, and, you know, if the AI is so strong, then Etsy is going to match it with the customer anyway. So I think it's more a case of that, you know, as sellers, we need to kind of just know that this is not necessary anymore and that they're going to be ranking up anyway, as long as we use words once, make it, you know, understandable and yeah, all of that stuff. Okay, so coming back to the guidance, guys. Look, it tells us here why clear titles matter, clearer titles matter. Buyers tell us that clear, easy to scan titles help them feel more confident when browsing and choosing what to buy. And when an item is unique or handmade, it can be hard to balance shared. Etsy search placed heavy emphasis on the title, pushing some sellers to pack in keywords, right? This often leads to longer, harder to read titles that make it more difficult for buyers to shop confidently. Okay, so, you know, like I said, this is about the buyer experience. They want the buyer to be to enjoy the experience. And what they're saying is that these titles are harder to read, is spoiling that experience, essentially. And now this is what we're saying. It says, why should I update my listings titles now? Our search system has evolved to take a more holistic view of your listing, including title, tags, attributes, descriptions, first photo, and even reviews to help connect your items with the right buyer. Now, this is really important, guys. This is very important because you can see they are being very specific about how AI deems or sees how to match your your listing for the customer. And not only do they look at the title, they're talking about a holistic view. They're looking at the title, the tags, attributes, descriptions, first photo. Look, they've been specific. Your first photo is massive. Your main photo is huge, right? Even your reviews. So AI just scans and looks at everything and helps to match your listing to the potential customer, right? And it says that means that your title doesn't need to do all the work or all the heavy lifting, right? Look, because the title traditionally is the main thing, is the main bit that actually sort of pushes your listing up to wherever you know you want it. They're asking us to focus on clarity and relevance in the listing titles while moving other key details to listing tags. So, you know, where you want to maybe add other words, you know, keep your title cohesive is what they're saying, and move your key details to the listing tags possibly, and even the description, because AI is still going to be picking up other keywords in those areas too. This is what they're trying to say. I mean, look, come on, let's be real. I think it's it's not a bad thing, you know. So far, it makes sense. I mean, you know, they want things to sound and make, you know, sound like they make sense. This will help you show up in interested buyers more easily. So look, this is what they're saying. What makes, do you know, this guidance not too bad, by the way, you know, Etsy's been trying to break it down nicely and it's not too bad. Look, it says, what makes a great listing title, right? Clearly state the item for sale, right? Like what it is, it's a mug or a dress. Include the most important traits like your item's color, material, streamline for clarity and scannability. Consider using less than 15 words when including the traits that make your item special. Now, look, to be honest with you, I would say just use all the words available to you, right? Just use every area. I see it as real estate. And I think the title is really important to use all the availability of the words that you can. So to limit your title to a shorter title, I'm not too keen on that really. I don't think there's any benefit in that. Only include festivities, special occasion, like for example, birthday candle or Halloween costume. Move subjective words. This is interesting, like perfect or beautiful to the description, because what it is trying to say that you don't need these subjective words, because it can be picked up anyway in other places. Because the important thing is the emphasis is not just on the title, is what it's trying to say. It's going to be AI is really putting it all together by looking at your main image, looking at your title, looking at your tags, looking at your product description. All of these are starting to play a bigger role, right? It's not like before, like where the main thing is the title. Also, try not to repeat words, right? This is a big no-no, by the way. Now they don't want you to repeat words. This definitely spoils the customer experience, and there's no need for it, because you put one word, it understands what you're trying to do. And then it says don't worry about adding info about price, delivery, or sales. I'm not sure about that. I think customers want to know that information. So I wouldn't do everything that they're saying right now, because I feel like you have to see how it goes. You have to test out as well. Don't rush into this. Don't start changing all your titles either, right? Just relax, slow down. All right, this is guidance. You got to take it one by one. Maybe try it out on a listing and see where it takes you. But look at this new guidance, right? It's it's like I said, they've tried to really help out as much as possible. Now they've said like listing title traits like a noun, dress, mug, table, for example, definitely keep it in the title. Clearly state what the item is. Objective words also keep them also, like what they are, what it's made out of, what color, that kind of thing. Aspirational items searches, like it says gift for him, birthday or present, or personalized gift. I'm not sure about that one, I'll be real. I think personalized is important to have, even maybe having gift in the title. I don't know, I feel like it kind of helps. So that's a hard one. They're saying don't include it, no need. Move it to tags or attributes. I'm not sure about that one. And then you got your subjective descriptors. I guess I understand that. Beautiful, perfect, wonderful. That's not necessary. And again, how the item is sold, on sale or free delivery. It says remove completely from listing. It's crazy, but like I said, I'm not sure if you should. And then again, unnecessary repeated words. Yeah, I guess that they're saying, look, words are picked up. You don't need to repeat it, which is a no-no right now. Yeah. So here's some examples. Look at this. Look, this is interesting. So this is an example of an old title, and we see these all the time. These kind of things. Like I said, like the example I showed you, very common. They work at the minute. I've seen, obviously there are bestsellers. They sell fantastically well with these titles. But remember, this is a guidance for a shift now. There's going to be a shift in the way, the Etsy algorithm is going to start probably favoring these kind of more cohesive titles. And this is why they're bringing out this guidance, because obviously they're rolling it out and they want people to start doing that. So it's probably to your benefit to actually work on this. But what I personally would do is I personally would start doing this on your new titles. If you're creating listings, start creating it in the new style, right? That's what I would do. And you take it one by one. You don't start changing stuff. Don't start changing what you've done already. I don't want things to mess up. If you start seeing sales drop down in your old listings, really take a sort of drop, then maybe you can start changing. But listen, only in new listings start experimenting with this new title style. So you can see the old title, which is literally, putting all the keywords that this seller believes is going to work and get it up on the sort of algorithm. And look how short this one is. It's way shorter because there's less repetition. It's very clear. It's just using, the same one word. It's taken away things like Father's Day, because obviously it doesn't want, things like Father's Day, those occasions to be there. It's taken off gifts, gift as a keyword. It's taken off one of the personalized, but very interesting. They kept personalized one time, right? Even though it says, what did it say? It says don't include personalized up here, right? So it's kind of contradiction, right? They're saying don't include personalized, the word personalized, but maybe they mean personalized gift actually. But Yeah, but they've included personalized here. And they've even, funny enough, included the sizing of the t-shirt, right? Again, here, they've done it, really cut it down, that monostone ring, and they've cut it down. But you can see what they're trying to say is how it makes it sort of more clear. Here's another example. This is the seller maybe is included on sale. I mean, on sale is not necessary, but look how short this one is. If you are going to go down this road and you're going to make it more cohesive, more kind of readable, if you like, these titles, then I would add more words, to be honest. I would add more words, that would sort of make it more readable. I personally wouldn't get rid of things like personalized or gift. I personally would probably keep those still. Yeah, so I don't think, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. They want you to move. I mean, definitely, stop repeating. There's a lot of repetition that's going on. That's for sure. So definitely try not to repeat. So it says, while removing certain keywords from your title, which supports readability, don't forget to move them to your listings attribute. So it does say those keywords that you've got, don't just remove them, move them into your tags, descriptions. They can be used in other places because the AI is going to pick it up. So it's not about removing them from the title and just let it disappear. They want things like gift. They want things like, those kind of words to be moved over to tags and the product descriptions, because they're apparently going to be used. Okay. And also the other thing I wanted to say is what's being rolled out is a new tool, and you're going to see it when you just log in and go into your shop. You will see this kind of new tool which is being rolled out, and this new tool is literally, this is a video on it. You'll see it in the link in the video description how it works. You may not have it yet. A lot of people don't have this yet. By the time of doing this video, it's probably being rolled out. It makes it easier to sort of apply this guidance where you can actually, the AI tool will suggest updated listing titles you can use for your current title. But you see, there's a real focus also on photo, your first photo. I think the first photo is becoming more and more important, the main image. So definitely start looking at how to improve your first photo, because AI is scanning that and also helping to kind of match it to potential customers. And the description is a really fantastic bit of an area where you can utilize and get your listing pushed by making a really good description. So do check out this new tool when you do get it, where you can literally, it will give you suggestions on recommendations on really good listings that you could have, title listings, which is AI powered. Like I said, this is all shifting. This is becoming massively AI powered. But very important, before you actually sort of play around and mess around with your listings, before you make updates, it does recommend downloading a CSV file of your listings, so that you can actually, if something goes wrong, you've got that and you can re-upload it if needed. It says, make sure you're running the latest version of the Etsy seller app to easily update your listings. Personally, I mean, look, I wouldn't do any changes in the Etsy seller app. I'll do it on the desktop, because this is it's very fiddly, and it's gonna, you can make mistakes much easier. So do on your laptop. I wouldn't do any changes on the app. So yeah, the tool offers suggestions for English language listing titles that could benefit from this new guidance. I mean, look, I would definitely use this new sort of new listing, new tool, which will help update your listing titles, right? That's its job. It's going to help update your listing titles, make it, I guess, more legible, more readability. And because they are suggesting and because they are providing this tool, I would use that. I mean, that you could use ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you very quickly how to just transform a title that makes it more similar to what they are asking you to do. But I personally, because they're rolling out this new tool, I would use their new tool because they are suggesting to use it, and obviously they will probably favor it, since they're rolling it out. So it only makes sense. Okay, let me just jump on ChatGPT very quickly, just show an example of something that you could do to make your title more readable. So let me just show you now very quickly. Okay, so coming back to that example listing that I showed you that had a lot of repetition, for example, a lot of word repetition and is not as cohesive as Etsy wanted. But like I said, at the moment, looking at, that particular listing was a bestseller and is selling really well right now on Etsy. So obviously, it works, that sort of keyword inclusion, although not legible or not, you can't read it in terms of sort of that readability, cohesiveness, they do work. But like I said, this is new guidance that Etsy is coming out with that they want you to move to. So I would say moving forward, then start making your titles more cohesive. And this is why I suggest don't change anything that is working right now. Just start changing your new titles maybe in the way they want you to. Okay, that's what my suggestion. And if you're going to do anything, download your listing on a CSV file so that you have that backup there. Now, all I did was to ChatGPT, I said, rewrite the following in a natural and cohesive sentence without repeating any words, right? For that example. And then I've got this really nice, easy to understand sentence. Again, short, exactly how Etsy has shown you using that sort of title or the examples. And you can see that this is very easy to read and understand. And I guess improves the customer experience, non-repetition of words, but again, being clear. Now, like I said, if your title is still short, this is my own personal opinion. If your title is still short of words, then I don't see the harm in adding maybe another sentence if you can put one in, which again would add clarity to your listing as long as it is in that cohesive style and maybe touches on other words that would help elevate your listing into other search terms, right? So I don't see an issue with that. Because they are going to be quite short. When you actually do this, you're going to find that your titles are quite short. But yeah, I mean, I just personally like to use all the real estate available to you. And don't forget, anything that you have taken out from the title, do put them in the tags, put them in the product description, and make sure that they are there so that the AI can pick it up. And remember, the other thing that they've emphasized in this is that the main photo is taking a much more important role and that your focus should be on trying to improve your main photo so that the AI algorithm can help favorite and push it all those places. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this long video. I did say it was going to be short. It ended up being quite long. Apologies for that. But if you do have any questions, drop it in the comments below. I'll try and answer you. Other than that, if you did like the video, please hit the like, subscribe, smash that notification bell, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care, mate. Take care.